Yeah, well, this is the thing we come back to, which is, I think, a good subject to bring up, which is that the salary cap exists. Teams are beholden to it, and nobody is able to simply dance around the laser beams. You're going to get clipped. The Niners are in the process of kind of getting close to looking like they're going to get clipped a little bit here as we're moving into the future. Where's that right here with them into 2025? Where are they at? They're at $23.8 million in bad money. They're negative, basically $24 million on their cap as it stands right now. And they're looking through that and they're like, yeah, we got George Kittle at that time where we can save $18.9 million there. Is he going to be on the roster really at that time? They don't want to give up Ayuk. And that's the thing. And I get it. I wouldn't want to give up Ayuk as well. But they're at that place now where the cost has clicked in. So you're going to have to pick somebody that you're willing to go away from now. You're going to have to, cut away one of your pillars. Is it going to be Deebo Samuel? Is it going to be Kittle? I agree with you. The Kittle one doesn't make sense to me. To me, it's the Samuel one. I think the reason they don't want to do the Deebo Samuel one, though, is because they can't get the proper value for Deebo. We'll give you a 4th-round pick for Deebo. You'd rather just try to roll the dice and see if he can bounce back off these injuries recently and just be healthy for a little bit of time, especially if we can load balance him a bit. With Kittle, he's getting older. It's a devalued position. So when you start to spend money on that position in the sport, why did Brock Bowers drop as far as he did? Because the price of the cost of a tight end at 6'7" overall. So there's that pull, but it all comes down to you can't pay everybody. And they're running into these problems with the Niners as far as somebody's got to get clipped. Somebody's got to pull the straw and take the short straw. This is all hitting them right now prior to even having to pay Brock Purdy. What happens when that comes in after next year? All teams have the same amount of money to work with. Why are teams with cash on hand able to be more aggressive? Saw it with the Rams. They manipulate the bonus. Well, we didn't really talk about it as much, but it comes down to sometimes the guarantees. And I don't like to factor in and talk about too much the guarantees with the cap because it can really start to confuse things a little bit. But when we do show Randall, for instance, what the Rams did and what the Niners are doing a little bit right now in order to create their space is they indeed robbed from the future. They are paying the price. When you look at this, Randall, here's your team in 2025 for the Rams. This is with Aaron Donald now, a year retired in the books. He's sitting on his couch, right? He's got the no more 6-pack. It's more like a spare tire. He's hanging out on that couch. He's chilling. And so we come to this in 2025, Randall. You're still going to be paying Aaron Donald. They gave him, remember that contract extension a couple of years ago, and it was kind of recent after they'd already given him a contract extension, and they pushed all the money out. You got Matt Stafford next year moving into a year where he's going to be getting pretty old next year, $50.5 million cap hit because you got him on that extra contract extension. You move the money out. You've got Cooper Kupp set for next year at that $30 million contract, that cap hit there, Randall. So there's two things here. First, look to 2025. They're still kind of paying that price from those seasons of past. That championship run with Donald is still being paid as a price with him a year removed in retirement and to the tune of almost $40 million. Look at that number right there, Randall, that $38.526 million. They save only $1 collectively, but they have $38.5 million of dead money. And this is 2025. This isn't this year, Randall. So this is 2025 I'm talking here. That's where, to me, they had to pay the price, number one, when you see it here. Then you go, okay, well, yeah, they're paying the price here. But then remember, too, with this, Randall, they had $57 million of dead money on their books this past year. Also from them cleaning house last year and turning it over. They made the playoffs, but $57 million was off of their books last year that they couldn't spend because of the championship run and charging the card in the future and all of that. So there is a way to manipulate this, Randall, but it's not anything that's being done where guys are like capologists that are just being so brilliant in their approach. The price is the price. The cost is the cost. You're going to pay a guy this amount of money. You've got to then pay that price off your cap somewhere at some point. And if you push it to the future, that's all well and good, but you're going to have to then make sure that you've got your cap that year into a healthy state to be able to sustain that dead money hit. And you know, when you get down to it, it's just not a really good way of having to do business where you're every year going into it, Randall, going, well, we got not as much money as we should have. Like it's $255 million as far as the cap. money we have to spend, but we only have $220 million to spend because we got all this dead money from guys we had to release that aren't good anymore, or they're overpaid. And so it's the price still comes in. There is the guarantees you can give players where you can offset a little bit of stuff, right, Randall? Where, okay, you have your base, your bonus, and you have your player go, okay, well, we have a scenario like this where you have a 4-year contract, 4-year deal, $80 million, $30 million bonus, right? But the player's better than this. Let's say he's a $100 million guy. He's going, all right, I kind of like those numbers. I think I should be worth a little bit more, but I like playing for your team. We need to come to a compromise here, though. You need to come up a little bit more. We need to find a way to get me more money, or I don't want to get to year 3 and you can move off of me. So the team says, okay, well, we got that. What we can do then is year 3, what we're going to do is we're going to guarantee that $15 million base. I'm not going to turn the base into bonus, but what that is that year 3, you were getting that base salary come hell or high water, whether you are here or whether you are not. And that's where you can get to some manipulations at that point, where that team then is able to kind of bury the money on the books, because that base basically is like a bonus, but it's not attributed like a signing bonus because it doesn't come in until year 3 of the cap, until 3 of the contract. And so this is where teams can kind of manipulate that a little bit, Randall, in order to push it out. But again, we still come down to the part where that $15 million base hits that year. And then what occurs at that point? They got to have that. They need to make sure that they're not getting that out from that $50 million base. They can't release that player and save what they maybe could have a little bit. No, now you're on the hook for that number. That's on the hook for the books at that point. And that can leave you in a place now, Randall, like the Rams kind of find themselves in here, where if you've guaranteed the deal, it's not even base, but it's like just the guarantees you put for this season, and the player retires, unless you're going to come back after that player, which teams really rarely do. Now you're just sort of sitting on the books like, with Brady or Aaron Donald. Like the Bucs had this with Brady, of course, and the Rams are having this with Donald, even moving into next year. You're just kind of stuck at that point. So it still is a risk. There is not a way to get around it. The cost does come due. The Saints doing this every year, Randall, is one where they do it every year, but they pay the price every year. They're hampered by what they can do in free agency. They're hampered by contracts they can spend. They lose guys like Marcus Williams to the Ravens because they don't have the money to re-sign this really good safety, even though they like him a lot. They're just cash strapped in that way every single season. And it all comes down to because they never eat that dead money. That's the thing with the Saints, Randall, is 2 years ago, we ate the $50 million in the Russell year. We bled the bad out, like the old days where they used to bleed people out in order to get the virus out of them. We got to bleed them a little bit. They'll be fine after that. Like we did our bleed. We got our 50 out. The Rams last year, $57 million. Got it kind of for the most part out of their system. They weren't anticipating maybe Donald retiring as early. Got most of it out of the system. If not for Donald's retirement, it completely would be out of their system for even moving into next year. But the Saints don't do that. They've never have taken the suffering. They made the deal with the devil, and every year they're like, just another year, man. Just give me one more year, and then we'll go down to hell, and then you can do all the torment and the punishment and all that good stuff. Just give me 1 year, though. Like one more, just another year. Okay, one more year this time. No, really, just one more. Eventually the bills come and due. Eventually you're going to have to go down to the dungeons. And out comes Pinhead, Welcome, New Orleans Saints. We've been waiting for you.